we doing, guys?
Good.
Good, Coach.
What is your focus at this stage of the OTAs as far as what you want to see, what you want to install, any of that?
It's really just going through the process of putting our offensive, defensive, and special team system in place. And we started that earlier in the teaching sessions, and we'll continue to do that. Our pattern is to do it once, do it again, do it a third time, and do it a fourth time when we get to training camp. So we're involved in that process. That's what practice looks like each day. We have installation day 1, installation day 2, 3, 4, all the way through 9. And again, it's an opportunity for us to put our systems of football in, the specific scheme stuff, but also how we want to implement that.
Is there much change to the offense and what you are with Kellen now calling plays? Or is there more tension there that with these guys having to learn new things?
Oh, I think you always want to evolve. There's no question when you have a new person in that coordinator's role, there's going to be some evolution, even more so than what you would have from year to year, and we think that's a good thing. I think our convictions about offensive football and defensive football and how we play special teams won't change that much, but you certainly want to implement things differently. And there's some new language, there's some new verbiage, there's some different things that we're going to try to do in all 3 phases of our team, and that's a big part of what this installation is over the course of the offseason, introducing our team to that.
How have Dak and Kitna kind of gotten along here as they work together, and what do you want Kitna to work on most with Dak? Is it a footwork issue mostly? I mean, are there certain things?
I think they've gotten along really well. To answer your first question, I think they have a lot of similar qualities. If you think about them as people, I think what's most impressive to me about each of those guys is their ability to connect with other people, players, coaches. They just have a really infectious spirit about them that's contagious. And I think they're hitting it off really well. I think it's good to have a new voice for Dak, someone who, again, I think believes in the things that we believe in, but maybe can present it a little bit differently. And hopefully that resonates with Dak and the other quarterbacks. Dak, like all quarterbacks, you're constantly refining your technique. I think that's the number one job of the quarterback coach. There's so much technical stuff involved in playing football at any position, particularly the quarterback position. And you mentioned footwork. Footwork is a big part of it. Your stance, how you get away from center, how you operate in the gun, and then your mechanics as a passer, and then obviously the other stuff about playing the position, understanding what we're doing, understanding what the defense is doing, how you want to attack a defense, all of that. And both Kit and Kellen will work closely together with Dak and our other quarterbacks and hopefully help them develop.
What is your comment on the video of Ezekiel Elliott that surfaced, and have you spoken to him about that incident?
I have no real comment beyond just being aware of the situation, and Stephen Jones spoke on behalf of the organization the other day.
Outside of Lawrence and Byron and Taco, I guess Leo Collins, who else is being held out of OTAs?
We don't anticipate having Alan Hearns be involved in the practices during OTAs. DeMarcus Lawrence, Byron Jones, Christian Covington hurt his calf, so we don't anticipate him being involved. There'll be some other guys who are going to work their way back in. Tavon Austin's one of those guys, Tyrone Crawford, Taco Charlton, Antoine Woods, Leighton Vander Esch. So each of those guys, they're not practicing right now. We're hopeful over the course of the next 3 or 4 weeks they can get some work in, though.
What's Leighton's issue?
He's got a kind of a pelvic issue that he's been dealing with.
How about Travis?
Travis and L.C. Collins are working an individual. They won't be in the team stuff, at least initially.
How encouraging is it, though, to see Travis Frederick seemingly making his way back, given the fact you guys didn't really know what the timeline was going to be last year?
Yeah, really encouraging. His injury or his issue was one that we hadn't seen a whole lot of. So just how we handle that as a team, as an organization, as a medical staff, and how he handles it, it was a little bit uncharted territory for us. But you heard me say many times he was incredible for our team last year and how we stayed involved in absolutely everything we did. Every meeting, every walkthrough, every practice, every game, he was right there. And I do think the work that he was doing on the side beyond that was helping him. And I thought he got stronger as the year went on. And, towards the end of the year and into the early part of the offseason, he was getting closer and closer and closer physically to what he had been. So he'll continue through that process, and it's very encouraging. It's very inspirational to see him come back. He's been such a good player for us and such a good leader for us.
Based on how you know, back on the Kitna and Dak, based on how you know both of them, how excited were you to get them together once you hired John?
Yeah, John has been a really special guy for me, as a player. He was a quarterback here for us. Played a long time for a lot of different people, but had a couple of different stints with us, and again, had such a big impact on our team. He played very well for us when he had opportunity to play, and then just the way he interacts with his teammates. He was such a natural leader, and I think that was a big reason why he was a successful quarterback for as long as he was in this league. So getting those two guys together, I think it's a really good fit, and John's really committed to helping all our quarterbacks get better, and he works very hard at it. I think the relationship between John and Kellen has been a really good thing. They're on the same page as to what we're looking for, so that's been a positive thing as well.
You told us a couple weeks ago that Witten looks like the same guy as he did after a year away. Can you tell that he's excited to be out here on the field doing this OTA stuff, even if it's he's a guy that's...
Yeah, absolutely. He's been excited about every part of it ever since I met him, and that hasn't changed. The work that he's done in the weight room and our off-season program has been outstanding. His testing numbers and all of that are what they've been, or even better. And he has an unbelievable way about him. He's got a tremendous passion for the game, and he demonstrates that every day. It was fun to see him out on the field yesterday. He's not going to participate today. Sean Lee's not going to participate today. Tyron Smith is not going to participate today, and Jameel Showers as well. Each of those guys, we anticipate them taking the middle day of the three-day set off. So they'll just do some limited stuff at the start of practice. But Whit looks good. He's excited to be back, and we're certainly fortunate to have him back.
How often do you see that where a player walks away from the game for a year and is able to come back and still maintain some of those testing numbers that you guys set every year?
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen it, to be honest with you. You don't see many players walking away and coming back, and for him to come back and just be in the shape that he's been in says a lot about who he is and what he's been able to accomplish over the course of his career.
What are your impressions of Robert Quinn, and what have you seen of him since he's been here, as far as how he works on the field and just
well, the overwhelming impression is what a professional, really serious-minded guy who loves football and works very hard at it. And he's got a spirit of a rookie coming in and learning things, and really excited to be with Rod and Leon and the group of defensive linemen that we have, and obviously a very established, accomplished player, but he's got a young person spirit, and that he wants to come to work and get better every day. He works very hard in the meeting room, works very hard on the practice field, and certainly off to a really good start for us.
You mentioned Alan Hearns won't take part. Where is he in his recovery after such a scary injury?
Alan's doing great. He too is a true pro and just going about it the right way every day, and he's made tremendous progress. He's been working with our rehab guys, Britt Brown, and has just done a fantastic job. And we'll just continue to be deliberate with him coming back. Obviously a very serious injury, but he's made great progress, and it really looks good.
You look at the NFL now, NFLPA's news this week on what they're going to be doing for behavioral and mental health. What does that mean for y'all as a team, and how important is it to focus on that kind of treatment as well?
Oh, I think it's critical. I'm far from the expert in that area, but one of the things that we pride ourselves on as an organization is trying to help develop our players, and you try to help develop them as men. You try to help develop them as football players. You try to help them develop mentally, physically, and emotionally, and I think that's all part of it. And there's so many great resources that all of the NFL teams have, and I think we should tap into them and use them. And let the professionals in this area help our guys grow and develop, both as players and as people, while they're playing the game and certainly after the game.
How do you think the year off for Jason can help him, both from a physical standpoint, just having that year wearing more off his body, but also from a mental standpoint, and how much of the game he got to see?
Well, he's a pretty unique guy in that he kept himself pretty fresh. He's been taking care of his body for a long time. That's why he was able to play at such a high level. And then, again, his spirit was always fresh. He never looked like a guy that, boy, I'm 15 years in and I can't believe I got to practice today. That's never been him. But I think your question is a good one. I do think it can benefit him. If you want to look at, okay, he had a year off, he's going to be rusty, he's going to take a little time to come back. I think you can look at it the other way too. Maybe it freshened him up a little bit, and both physically and mentally. And he's always been, ready to go at a high level. But I do think coming back, I think he's got a renewed spirit that's going to help him and help our team.
I know it's early yet, but have you seen anything in terms of, I saw such and such when he was at different teams' practices or whatever over the course of the last year that he's been able to incorporate or?
Yeah, we haven't spent a lot of time on that. I do think it was a valuable experience for him to grow and learn and see other organizations, how they do things. We haven't had detailed conversations about that, though.
When you bring a player in like Cobb, who you've talked about you're very acquainted with from having played Green Bay all these times, do you, as far as incorporating him into the offense with his particular skill set, do you still have to be around him some to really develop some of those things, or do you just go, we know he can do this, we'll plug him in here?
Well, we've seen him do a lot of stuff, and that's one of the things we liked about him was his versatility and how they used him a lot of different ways in different spots, just doing different things. So that's one of the things that drew us to him. But there's no question that being around a guy on a practice field and really seeing him in real life up close, gives you an added benefit. And a lot of those things those perceptions that we had get reaffirmed. He actually can do that. Boy, this is how, the quickness that he has getting out of a break, or, his ability to run certain routes. Those are all really positive things. You see him on tape, you get him reaffirmed when you see him in real life. I think those are all really good things. And I think everything we thought about him, appears to be true. We've been on the field with him now 7 times, and, he's a real professional, very smart football player, capable of doing a lot of different things that hopefully can help us.
Was it yards after the catch, too, part of his appeal? His ability of...
Yeah, again, a variety of things, used in different spots, run different routes, and certainly when the ball was in his hands is very dynamic. He's a legendary high school quarterback in Tennessee, so you can see that. You can see that athleticism and feel for the game that he has, and it showed up through his college career and showed up in Green Bay. So, again, excited to have him here.
How important is the leadership committee that you guys have?
I think it's really important.
In what way? What is the...
Oh, I think something that we've always tried to do here is empower our players, get them to understand that it's their team and it's their time. And I think that's a formal way of doing it. We vote on those. The players vote on who's going to be on the leadership committee, and so that empowers them even more. But one of the things that we always try to emphasize is it's not just those guys who are the leaders of our team. Everybody has an opportunity to be a leader. If you're a captain, if you're on the leadership group, or if you're not, you have a chance to lead yourself and have a positive influence on other people. And that's what leadership is. So that's what we look for from all of our guys, but certainly those guys who are voted on by their teammates, they're empowered to do that. And I think that helps them in their roles as leaders on this football team.
What were your goals for the trip y'all took as a leadership team recently?
The goals for?
The trip you took as a leadership team to Duke and to the military?
Yeah, I wasn't part of that trip. The leaders went on their own, and that's something we've done here the last couple of years. And I think there are a number of different reasons why you do it. Maybe the first is for those guys to get away and be together and become closer and talk about the things that they think are important for our football team as we go forward. And then if you can put some positive influences in front of them, they can learn from other people. I think that's really good. And we talk about that all the time, learn from people in our game, but also people outside of our game and in other walks of life. And the time they spent at Duke and the time they spent with some of the special forces guys that we were with, I think was a really positive thing for them. And in a lot of ways, it probably reaffirms a lot of their values, a lot of things they think are important, but what the best teams are all made of. And maybe they learned some new things, new techniques, new language. And I think, again, it's all been a positive thing for us.
Knowing how important this offseason work is, do you look back and with Amari coming in week 7 or 8 last year and kind of say, man, he and Dak kind of hit it off pretty good. You don't see that very often. And what can the benefit be of more time together in a full offseason?
Yeah, he just was really impressive, to come in mid-year and do the things he was able to do physically for us, but also, we asked him to do a lot of things mentally. We challenged him to learn different spots, be in different parts of the formation, run different kinds of routes, adjust different ways, and he just was able to handle it. He's got a really high football IQ. I think he's a smart person. He's certainly a very smart football player, And you said it. I think he and Dak developed a connection. Just the way they communicated with each other and how they got themselves on the same page was really positive. But again, the more time on task you have, I think the better opportunity you have to do that even at a higher level. And so this off-season program has been important for him. He's embraced it completely, been a big part of it, and I think they're going to continue to grow together.
The competition committee now has the power to tweak the PI challenge rule, putting it in you guys' hands. What do you think of that? Does that put more on you as a coach to assess those challenges and make sure you have one at the end of the game?
Oh, I think it's a long discussion. It seems like it's still a work in progress as to how the whole thing's going to shake out. So I don't want to be premature in my comments. Certainly, as we came out of the owners' meetings in March, how they decided on it then was going to give us more of an opportunity to try to address some things as coaches by challenging the offense and defensive pass interference. So we'll let the whole thing shake out and see what the rule ultimately is. I think the league is well intended. They're trying to make sure some of these calls that tip the balance of big games can somehow get rectified. I think that's the nature of replay in general. So I just think we'll allow them to continue to work out what the specifics are, and then we'll figure it out from there.
How long does it typically take for a rookie class to adjust to these OTAs, and what are the challenges in doing that?
Oh, I think that's a constant process, and when you think about the word adjust, I mean, hopefully they'll be a little more adjusted today than they were yesterday, and more tomorrow than they were today. I mean, the biggest thing is to improve each day. They're way behind our veteran players, and when we have our rookie orientation, that's really the first thing out of our mouth. The purpose of the rookie orientation is to orient them and give them an opportunity to start to catch up. Because once we get to the end of August, we want to look at 90 players and say, who are the best 53, or who are the 53 guys who make us the best football team, independent of rookie or veteran. And you want to be able to evaluate them on a level playing field. So they got to catch up. And they've done a good job working hard. We've been able to spend some extra time with them. I think they're getting more and more comfortable each day, but they probably won't feel adjusted for a little while.
How has the construction work out there impacted the way you guys kind of structure this thing?
I think it looks impressive. A lot of Tonka trucks out there moving some earth. So those guys are working hard. We're working hard. We're fortunate that we have an indoor facility, so we work inside, so it's not been a big deal for us.
Does grass turf matter? Do players care about that stuff? Very mindful of that.
I think if you asked me that question 30, 40 years ago, I think there's a big difference, but the technology with field turf these days, it's been so good, and the product they continue to come up with is better and better and better, so we feel like we have the best. Grass is really good. We like working on grass, but the field turf these days is pretty close to that.
Thank you.
All right. Good to see you guys.
See you.